two masters built their dominance in very different ways. Floyd Mayweather turned risk into silence, shaping rounds with economy, distance, and denial. Terence Crawford turns chaos into control, switching stances, reading tells, and closing the show when momentum tilts. If they met at welterweight in their absolute primes, who truly comes away as the better boxer? Stay with me as we break them down skill for skill and reveal a 10-category scorecard near the end to settle the debate today. Before we get started, remember to subscribe so you don't miss the most exciting stories about boxing's legendary fighters. Floyd Mayweather is an all-time great who retired with 50 wins and no defeats, ruling 5 weight classes and outclassing elite opposition through control, precision, and defense that made risk vanish round by round. Terence Crawford is a defining figure of modern men's boxing with 42 wins and no defeats, rising through multiple divisions and becoming undisputed in the 4-belt era at junior welterweight and at welterweight. He is known for fluid switch hitting, sharp timing, and a calm finishing instinct that turns momentum into results. Both men are unbeaten masters shaped by different paths, which is why a fair skill-for-skill comparison is the only honest way to judge them. We compare them prime for prime at welterweight under modern rules. The test uses 10 equal categories: ring intelligence, defense, timing, footwork, jab and lead hand control, power and finishing, composure under fire, versatility, quality of resume, and longevity at the top. Each category asks a simple question: who shows more consistent, repeatable skill against proven opposition? Widely known boxing terms may appear in short form, and every term is spoken in plain language. We total the scores at the end for a clear verdict. Ring intelligence is the art of changing a fight while the fight is still moving. Floyd Mayweather excels at this. In the rematch with Jose Luis Castillo, he solved the early riddle by claiming lead hand control, stepping just off the center line, and resetting the pace to his preferred rhythm. Against Canelo Alvarez, he bled the clock, took away the jab with feints and touch leads, and turned rushes into empty pursuits, forcing a slower, cleaner fight on his terms. Terence Crawford builds a different kind of map. He reads patterns, then flips the board. With Shawn Porter, he absorbed the early bustle, switched stance to change angles, and guided exchanges into lanes where his counters landed first. With Errol Spence, he settled into southpaw, disrupted entries with quick checks, and steered the tempo from center ring. Both men do not wait for corners. They redraw plans in real time, and they make the opponent live with the new plan. Defense is not a trick. It is the quiet art of making violence miss. Floyd Mayweather turns that art into routine. He narrows targets with a compact stance, rides punches on the shoulder so they glance, and catches shots on forearms and gloves before they bloom. He controls distance with small retreats and subtle dips, then resets without panic. Opponents swing at an outline and find little to claim as clean work. Terence Crawford builds a different shield. He keeps his eyes calm, trims movement to the minimum, and lets punches pass by a whisper. From a southpaw look, he tucks the chin, shifts the guard, and makes the first attack fall short. When contact comes, he smothers it quickly, then slips away without trading needlessly. The common thread is denial. Mayweather denies access to the target for long stretches. Crawford denies the opponent a second try after the first one fails. Timing is the invisible weapon that changes a fight before power ever lands. Floyd Mayweather makes opponents believe they are safe, then punishes the smallest step forward. His pull counter snaps over a reaching jab, turning the aggressor's rhythm into his own point on the scorecard. The check hook is another blade, catching a rushing fighter and spinning him away from control. He wins exchanges not by volume, but by deciding exactly when the moment belongs to him. Terence Crawford's timing comes from patience and sudden violence. He studies the jab, lets it fly once or twice, then sends a counter right through the lane it leaves behind. Switching stance sharpens the trap. From southpaw, his counter 1-2 has ended momentum before it could even grow. He does not need a barrage. He needs the instant an opponent believes he is safe. Both men turn that instant into a turning point, and fights bend around their precision. The ring is not just a stage, it is territory, and Floyd Mayweather treats every inch as his own. He drifts half a step back, pivots just enough, and suddenly the opponent is reaching, off balance, and forced to reset. His micro movements build an invisible wall, and before long he is standing where the fight feels safest, while the other man is trapped chasing shadows. Terence Crawford uses his feet as pressure tools. He advances with measured steps, cutting escape lanes and pointing the fight toward corners. Once the opponent feels hemmed in, Crawford shifts stance and launches clean punches into paths he already mapped with his feet. Mayweather creates space by subtracting angles. Crawford seizes space by closing them down. In either case, position is destiny, and both men make the floor beneath them feel like an advantage. The jab is more than a punch. It is the lever that opens or locks every door in the ring. Floyd Mayweather uses it as a steering wheel. Sometimes it is a light touch that freezes a rival's shoulders, sometimes a quick flick that breaks rhythm, and sometimes a feint that makes the opponent throw when he should wait. By controlling the lead hand, he dictates when the fight starts and when it pauses. Terence Crawford uses his jab differently. From southpaw, he sends it sharp and direct, setting up the cross or forcing an opponent to step into danger. It is not only a rangefinder, but a declaration that the exchange will unfold on his terms. Mayweather manipulates tempo with the lead. Crawford stabs through it. Both men prove that one hand can control the shape of an entire contest. Power is not just measured in knockouts, but in how quickly a fighter knows the moment is ready to end. Terence Crawford has that instinct wired into his style. Against top opponents, he senses when a guard has slipped or when legs no longer respond. He shifts gears instantly, pressing combinations until the referee has no choice. His stoppages are not reckless. They are cold, calculated closures that erase doubt. Floyd Mayweather's power shows in another form. Early in his career, he ended fights with speed and accuracy, but even as knockouts slowed, his precision forced rivals to respect every shot. They advanced less, punched less, and gave away the initiative because they felt the sting. He did not always chase finishes, but his punches carved discipline into every opponent's plan. Crawford crushes resistance when it breaks. Mayweather bends it before it can even rise. Both prove that power is not only about how hard you hit, but about what your punches make the other man do. A champion is measured when the storm is loudest. Floyd Mayweather never let urgency distort his decisions. Even when pressed by aggressive challengers, his face stayed still, his choices precise, and his game plan intact. Terence Crawford shows calm of a different flavor. He can be hurt or surprised, but the eyes remain cold and the posture steady. Then comes the turn. Moments after appearing vulnerable, he regains command and flips momentum. Each man proves that composure is not the absence of danger, but the refusal to give it authority. Versatility is the ability to change what the opponent must solve. Terence Crawford embodies this with his stance switching. One round orthodox, the next southpaw, he alters the angle of attack, the guard position, and the rhythm of his offense. Every switch forces recalculation, and by the time a rival adjusts, the target has already moved. It is a living puzzle that few have solved. Floyd Mayweather stays within one stance, but inside it, he changes shape endlessly. He shifts gears from cautious countering to lead offense, changes punch selection, and alters distance without warning. His variety is not in the feet, but in the patterns, and it leaves opponents chasing ghosts. Crawford multiplies questions by changing the stance itself. Mayweather multiplies questions by reinventing choices inside one frame. Both demand constant answers, and most fighters run out of solutions long before the final bell. A fighter's record is more than numbers. It is the gallery of names that shape an era. Floyd Mayweather built a resume that stretched across generations. He dismantled Diego Corrales, answered controversy by defeating Jose Luis Castillo in the rematch, edged Oscar De La Hoya in a high-pressure spectacle, controlled a young Canelo Alvarez, and mastered the long-awaited challenge of Manny Pacquiao. Each victory carried weight beyond the scorecards, showing command against champions of different styles and times. Terence Crawford's path reflects the modern landscape. He unified the belts at junior welterweight by stopping Julius Indongo, then rose to welterweight where he overcame Sean Porter and dismantled Errol Spence Jr. to become undisputed again. His greatest recent triumph came with a historic victory over Canelo Alvarez at super middleweight, making him an undisputed champion in 3 divisions in the 4-belt era. Mayweather's resume speaks of depth across eras. Crawford's resume speaks of ruthless efficiency and dominance whenever the chance for his supremacy appeared. Staying at the summit demands more than talent. It requires endurance against time itself. Floyd Mayweather sustained excellence for nearly 2 decades, moving from super featherweight to light middleweight while remaining undefeated. He adjusted as speed faded, sharpening defense and economy so that no era could catch him. Terence Crawford has shown a climb of his own, rising through 3 divisions without a blemish. His reign is shorter, yet his consistency since capturing world titles has been clear. His performances strong against every style placed before him. Mayweather represents the endurance of a career stretched long. Crawford represents the durability of a fighter still carving chapters in real time. Imagine them both at welterweight, each at full strength. Floyd Mayweather would begin by slowing the rhythm, controlling distance with light leads and subtle retreats. His goal would be to limit exchanges, reduce risk, and force Crawford into chasing. The fight could evolve into a clinic of denied entries, with Mayweather's counters stealing rounds by inches. Judges might lean toward the man who left fewer openings and absorbed fewer clean shots. But Crawford carries danger that survives slow tempos. From southpaw, he could push Mayweather backward, step across angles, and let the sharp 1-2 change momentum. A single knockdown in the middle rounds could alter the narrative, giving Crawford the confidence to press harder. The bout might swing between stretches of Mayweather's control and sudden bursts of Crawford's violence. 12 rounds later, the question would not be whether either man faltered, but which rhythm defined the majority of the fight, the economy of control or the shock of takeover. When each skill is weighed, the story becomes clearer. Floyd Mayweather claims the highest mark in defense, scoring a perfect edge for making clean punches almost impossible. He also leads in footwork, jab control, resume, and longevity, the categories that reward consistency and depth across eras. Terence Crawford answers with his own bright numbers. He scores higher in finishing instinct, where his stoppages define him, and in versatility, where stance switching opens doors few fighters can even imagine. Timing and composure stand nearly even, proof that both men share the ability to dictate the moment under pressure. With the totals tallied, Mayweather closes with a narrow but firm advantage, 92.8 against 90.4. The margin is small, a gap that shows how closely matched they stand when stripped to pure skill. The scorecard does not declare one man invincible, but it underlines why debates remain alive whenever these two names are spoken together. Floyd Mayweather represents the art of control, a fighter who built an undefeated record of 50 wins by denying danger and managing every round with ruthless discipline. His strengths lie in the long game, defense, footwork, and a resume filled with victories against champions of different eras. Terence Crawford stands as the defining figure of his generation, unbeaten in 42 contests, an undisputed champion in multiple divisions whose finishing instinct and stance-shifting creativity make him a puzzle rarely solved. He shows that takeover can be just as complete as denial. The matchup is closer than numbers suggest, and the conversation thrives because both men are unbeaten masters who shaped their eras. The true answer may rest less in totals and more in what kind of greatness a viewer values, the mastery of control or the mastery of takeover. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out more similar videos on the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Thank you.